Well, I've had my high yield savings account for a couple months now at Marcus, and I'm about to close the account. I'm just gonna have to. It's not that Marcus is a bad account, but for what I need it for, it doesn't really work the way I need it to work. As you know, if you've seen any of my videos, I use YNAB as my budgeting software. YNAB has helped me be way more intentional with my saving, with my spending, with really every aspect of my finances, especially now that I have a credit card with a, for me, decently high limit, $7,000. But for Marcus, the account, it doesn't sync with YNAB. So every time I want to see my balance, my current balance, I have to log in to the Marcus website. Not only that, when you log into the Marcus website, you log in and they send you a code to your email and you have to put the code in the website. So it's a tedious login process. Now, don't get me wrong, two-factor authentication, I get it. I get why it's important. But, just like we're all supposed to change our passwords and not use the same password on multiple websites, I want to just be able to put my username and password in and then just log into the website. I don't want to be jumping through hoops. So it being so tedious to log in on top of the fact that the current balance is not syncing to my YNAB, it's too tedious. And so while my emergency fund being at a bank that I don't necessarily see the balance on every day is a good thing, it's not really a good thing because I want to be able to look at my YNAB and see, hey, this is how much I have saved in my emergency fund and know that it's up to date. I don't like looking at YNAB and seeing that triangle there, which tells me there's a problem with the connection. So I'm mentally disconnected from the savings. I'm too far disconnected. Like I want there to be some friction. I don't want my high yield savings account for my emergency fund at the same place where my checking account is because I'm logging in there constantly, but I want it to be more visible than all the hoops that I have to jump through to see the balance. Because right now there's a lot of mental friction about it. I'm not constantly thinking about it, but I kind of am constantly thinking about it. I'm like, okay, how much is actually in my emergency fund? If I try to repair the connection on YNAB, is it actually going to work this time? And it's just too much mental energy put into my high yield savings account. Like an emergency fund should not be this difficult. So I just decided I'm going to close the account. There's really no reason to keep it. I'm also not saving consistently. When I was doing 75 Hard Personal Finance, I was using a different high yield savings account for my emergency fund. I was using Wealthfront. Turns out Wealthfront is not actually a bank. Opinions may vary on whether it's a safe place to keep your money or not. I don't think that there are any opinions that can vary on if an actual bank that's FDIC insured is a safe place to keep your money. So I'm going to go that route and I'm going to keep my money in a bank, which is why I moved to Marcus, but it just wasn't a good decision. I didn't realize that then, but now I do, and I got to make some changes. So in thinking about what changes I need to make, how it's going to look in real life. Now, I have my checking at Capital One. Capital One, I actually also have a high yield savings account. Now, let's talk about Marcus for just 1 second before we move fully on. The interest rate at Marcus was 3.65% APY. The APY for my Capital One high yield savings account is 3.4. I don't use that account at all. And I'm kind of seeing that is really putting myself at a disadvantage. Now, I just told you that I can't have my emergency fund at the same bank that I bank at because seeing it every day is just not going to work for me. But what I am realizing is that when I log into my checking account right now, I see that I have over $7,000 sitting in my checking account. That's my sinking funds. That's just, my day-to-day money that's not in my emergency fund. And that money is earning me virtually nothing. The interest rate on my Capital One checking account is 0.1%. So having $7,000 in there, I might as well just have it underneath my mattress. Like it's not doing anything. So I think the plan will be to open up or start using my Capital One high yield savings account. And that's going to be my catch-all for all my money. I'm going to switch over my direct deposits to go into my savings account. I'm going to change over all my auto pay, everything that I can. I'm going to switch it over to come out of my savings account. Anything that can't, it can come out of the checking account. And because the accounts are at the same bank, they're right there. It's super simple and seamless to transfer between one account and another. Who knows? They might even have a feature where if you don't have the money in your checking account, it can automatically pull from savings. I don't necessarily know that I want to do that. I want to be more on top of it than just letting it do its thing automatically, but that could be a feature. I know when I had SoFi, I think that was an option. If you had money in your savings, you could choose to have it put into your checking account if there was a transaction that came through and you didn't have the money in your checking. So overall, just making this simple change of going on the Capital One website, turning the account back on, and doing what I'm sure will be an instant transfer, it's going to start making me money immediately with basically me doing nothing. I can go turn that on the commercial break from The Real Housewives or RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, this is going to take me no time, and I'm going to start making money just like that. So anything to make me some money for basically doing nothing, like, I'm totally here for it. So that is going to be my first step. And, just to be clear, having that money in my high yield savings account is not going to be a temptation, because right now I'm already logging into Capital One and I'm seeing over $7,000 and I'm not tempted to spend it. I know that each one of those dollars has a job. Like I talk about in every single YNAB with me video, those dollars have a job. It's not going to change the fact that they have a job if I move them from a checking account to a savings account. So there's really not going to be any temptation there to spend that money. It's simply going to be a positive. I can't see any negative to moving it to the savings account, to be honest with you. And I want to make it super duper clear too that I'm not rate chasing, but 0.1% and 3.4%, that's a meaningful difference. Like, that's not nothing. I think when I looked at my account just a second ago, it said that I had earned 33 cents in interest. And I don't know if that was 2025 or 2026. It doesn't matter when it was, 33 cents. I'll tell you after a month has gone by how much I've earned, and I can guarantee you it's gonna be more than 33 cents. That being said, the plan for my emergency fund is this. I was juggling between options. I was thinking, should I open a high yield checking account? I saw one at a bank. I don't remember the interest rate. It was 3 point something, maybe 3.6. Should I do this? Should I do that? I really didn't know what to do. And this will be an experiment because I don't know how this account is going to play with YNAB. I don't have the account, so how am I supposed to know? But what I have settled on is Lending Club. Lending Club is a bank, and the APY on the account is 4%, 4.00, which is fantastic. And it is, again, higher than my Marcus account at 3.65, but I'm not rate chasing. I'm not going with that bank over Marcus because of a fraction of a percentage. I knew about Lending Club when I first opened Marcus, but I had seen other creators, people in the finance space use Marcus, and I thought, hey, it might be a good option. But for me, it's not a good option. So it's like a bonus that I'm gonna get a 4% interest rate versus 3.65. Now, there is a caveat with the 4.0% interest rate, but it's a feature, not a bug. You have to deposit $250 per month in order to get the 4%. But I want to start saving more. I need to start saving more. $250 a month in an emergency fund, in my opinion, is kind of low, especially with the income that I make. I could be saving a lot more than that. So $250 is going to make me save at least $250 a month. That's great. I think if we probably go back to after the 75 Hard Personal Finance Challenge, you'll see that I haven't been saving $250 a month. So a win is a win, really. And I think the best course of action will be to kind of go back to what I learned during 75 Hard Personal Finance, which I kind of forgot or haven't been putting into action, is that when you automate things, it makes it simpler. So I'm just gonna automate my $250 transfer, whatever, over to that account, and I'm not gonna think about it. It's gonna come up in my YNAB as a scheduled transaction. It's going to be in Lending Club. Ideally, Lending Club is going to sync with YNAB. So I'm just going to see that balance grow, grow, grow. And of course, nothing's going to stop me from depositing more in that account, but we're going to have a baseline of $250, which is great. I would love for the day to come to where I'm putting $5,000, $5,000. Oh, hold on. Let me speak it. I meant to say $500 or $1,000 a month, but hell, if I can save $5,000 a month to an emergency fund, listen, child, we're not gonna, I want to speak it, but damn. Anyhow, like, putting a consistent amount is a great way to get started. It's not really about perfection. It's just about making changes that are positive in the direction that you want to go. And I think that if you're trying to save, you're trying to get started saving, why not open up a Lending Club account? I will put a link to the account that I opened in the description box. It's just a regular link. I don't have an affiliate code or anything, but sign up for the account. It makes you save $250 a month. And you can probably swing that, right? $250 a month. And I don't know the percentage if you don't do the $250, but for me, it's not relevant. For you, it shouldn't be either. Just save $250 a month. Think about how much money you'll have at the end of the year. You'll be happy that you saved that money. And especially if there's an emergency that comes up, you're gonna be extra happy you saved that money. I know I will be. That's why I'm saving mine, for an emergency. When some shit hits the fan and then I'm thinking about, oh my God, I don't have the money, and I'm gonna be, oh, wait a minute, I have my emergency fund. That's the way I want that to work. For me, it's not really about the motivation to save. It's about, I need some guardrails. I need like some bumpers. Like when you go bowling, you know, and they have the little bumpers, I need something to keep me right on the straight and narrow. And that's what this $250 a month to get the 4% interest rate is going to do. It's going to keep me right going down the middle, going exactly where I want to go and being exactly where I want to be. Now, it's not foolproof, right? Because we've all been bowling with somebody who has the bumpers and they still manage to get a gutter ball, right? Like, not that that's ever happened to me, but it's going to help me a lot feel like getting to where I want to go. And, you know, all that being said, if you look at this and you're thinking, this is not good enough, she could earn this percentage here, this percentage there, you know, you're probably right. Could I optimize more? Yeah, probably. But you know what? This system is going to make it to where I'm not mentally thinking about this. There's going to be so much less mental friction. And that for me is a win. I don't need to be thinking about my emergency fund. I want it to be so far in the back of my head, like I just said. When an emergency comes up, I've almost forgotten that I had the money saved. And I want it to be like that. Oh my God, I have this money. You know what I'm saying? I want it to come rescue me. I don't want to be thinking about it all the time, which is what I'm doing now with my Marcus account because it just doesn't work the way I want it to work. So before, what we had is money spread out over accounts and the accounts don't really match the purpose. $7,000+ in a checking account with a 0.1 APY, that's not where it needs to be. I don't even know how much is in my emergency fund. I think like $2,500 in an emergency fund that I'm not able to see enough to keep it, you know, right in that sweet spot of in the back of my head, like in the middle of my head, I guess, right? Not in the back of my head, not the front of my head, but like kind of in the middle. I don't even know. That's not matching the purpose. My savings, I've fallen off. It's not automatic because I don't want to say motivated, but I just have no desire to set up automation when it's like, okay, I'm going to have to set up the automation. And then when I want to go check and see did the transfer go through, I'm going to have to go and log in and get the code to my email and come back to YNAB and then do a manual reconciliation. It's like, I don't want to do all that. I want all this to happen behind the scenes. Like, it's 2026 for God's sakes. Like, listen, I'm not trying to do all that. I'm really just not trying to do all that. So I need to get things less fragmented and I need to have less mental overhead. I need to be thinking about and worrying about things that have more value in my life. Like this is just not where my mental output needs to go. And so what I am going to have after, what my goal is that I have one main hub for my cash that's earning interest. I'm going to be putting that $7,000 into the account. It's going to immediately start earning interest. So if you're interested in seeing what changes really came out of this and you want to see me make another video in another month about how much interest I've made just by doing that switch, leave me a thumbs up and a comment to let me know and I will make another video. We can talk about the difference in the actual interest rate and how it affected everything and how it really changed my bottom line and made me money for doing basically nothing. The next transformation is that I'm going to have one emergency fund that is connected to YNAB seamlessly that helps me feel good about saving and be more apt to do what I know I need to be doing. The third thing, which is kind of the biggest thing if you ask me, is I'm going to have to make fewer decisions. And that's going to give me more clarity. Less hands-on is going to make me be in control more, which is kind of weird, right? A lot of people will probably think like, oh, I need to have my hands in, I need to do this, I need to have that to have control. Actually, no. I want to take my hands off and step back. And I feel like that's going to give me more control. So like I said, if you're interested, we can talk more in a month about how these changes actually turned out. I am about to go make these changes as soon as I wrap up this video. If you want to see more, let me know. Definitely subscribe and I will see you guys for the next one. Peace.